latest ITV News Central with Steve Clamp and Samina Ali Khan.
Hello and welcome to a special ITV News Central as Birmingham remembers the life of Ozzy Osbourne. With Black Sabbath, the frontman invented heavy metal and helped put the city on the world stage.
Tonight we'll be live at landmarks where the band have been celebrated. At the famous Black Sabbath bridge, at the mural in the city centre, outside Ozzy's childhood home in Aston, and at Birmingham Museum where an exhibition has been dedicated to him.
Ozzy died with his family by his side, 17 days after rocking Villa Park in his final concert. He was 76.
It's a memory I'll cherish forever. He goes, just keep it clean and don't pick the scabs.
And the legacy the Prince of Darkness leaves on the city and younger metal bands.
Good evening. He topped many polls as the most famous Brummie of all time, and he lived his rock star life to the full. Quite simply, Ozzy Osbourne was the rock icon.
From creating heavy metal music in the 1960s to being part of the family of self-deprecating Brummies on the Osbournes reality television show, Ozzy left an impression on so many worldwide. And his fans have paid tribute in their droves at key locations in Birmingham where he and his band are immortalised. Mark Goff is at the Black Sabbath bridge on Broad Street for us tonight. And Mark, what have you seen happening there?
Well, there's been a fair bit of sadness today, but people have been smiling through the sadness. I mean, just at the mention of Ozzy Osbourne's name, you know, when you ask him what they liked about Ozzy, their face just lights up. What they liked about him was that he did his own thing. He didn't follow any rules. And they also love him for the joy that he brought to them as fans in the heavy metal music that he created, obviously with the three other members of Black Sabbath. And yes, Black Sabbath were an international band, they're world famous, but at their heart, they're a Brummie band. Ozzy Osbourne was a Brummie, and the Brummies loved him for that. Tell me what your name is, madam.
Jenny.
And what's your name?
My name's Ozzy.
Ozzy?
Yep.
Named after?
Ozzy Osbourne.
How do you feel about that?
Good. Proud, aren't you? Really proud. Yeah.
What's not to like about Ozzy? Just loved him. So proud that he was from Birmingham.
Liked his energy, I liked his humour. He was a Brummie through and through.
What I loved about Ozzy and Black Sabbath is that it really gives you this feeling to live your life being true to yourself and don't care what people think and just do what you feel is inside of you and what you feel you need to do as opposed to following other people's rules, which Ozzy clearly never did.
We bought some flowers and a bat because we thought that was appropriate.
You've brought a bat as well?
Yeah, we have.
I'm very sad because I let him.
It's your favourite, it was one of your teddies, wasn't it? But he wanted to donate it for Ozzy.
And you're not from Birmingham, are you?
No, from Salford.
Come from Salford?
Yeah, travelled down this morning. Just felt that we had to come, didn't we?
Yeah.
Just felt like we couldn't sit at home. Just wanted to be as close as what we could to it, really. So, yeah, we come down.
We need to celebrate it. I don't know if we need to be sad. Yeah, fans are going to be sad about it. But I feel Ozzy wanted his life to be celebrated.
Someone's tied this child's Aston Villa shirt here to the bridge here. It says, "Rest in peace, Ozzy, the Prince of Darkness. final stop on the crazy train, but metal lives forever. Thanks for everything, Ozzy. And that's the sentiment here today with these crowds of people. So much love for Ozzy. They'll miss him so much.
And we're getting that loud and clear. Mark, thank you very much. Well, Ozzy's rock star lifestyle made tabloid headlines for more than half a century. And he was loved, as Mark said, for being a rebel, an icon, a mentor, and to many, a friend. Not surprising, then, that his death is being mourned around the world, but most of all here, in his hometown of Birmingham.
That love and admiration was evident when metal mania arrived in the city as Black Sabbath performed their final concert, Back to the Beginning, just over 2 weeks ago. Andy Bevan has been looking back at the extraordinary life of a global superstar who never forgot the place where it all began.
When I was a little boy, I used to think there were young people, middle-aged people and old people. I just thought that's the way it was. There were always old people, and I didn't think I'd be ever one of them, you know.
But John Michael Osbourne did make it, against the odds some might say, into old age. From a terraced house in Aston, through unremarkable school days and grimy jobs in factories, but with a talent for singing and songwriting, Ozzy Osbourne became one of the biggest names in music.
He created a genre. He's created the heavy metal genre, and that is, you know, it reaches beyond Birmingham, beyond the UK. It's global.
Lisa Mayer is artistic director at Home of Metal, which promotes the genre at exhibitions like this one in Birmingham back in 2019. It told the story of Ozzy and his 3 Brummie mates who came together after school friends Tony Iommi and Bill Ward saw an ad for a singer in a music shop. It read, "Ozzy Zig needs gig."
Sure enough, we go round to the house and his mum answered the door. I said, we've answered the ad for the singer. She went, "Oh, John, it's for you." And he come walking up the hallway. I said to Bill, "Oh, forget it, forget it." Purely because I didn't think he could sing.
But he could sing, and that voice helped Black Sabbath sell more than 75 million records all over the world and secure their place in music history. But success wasn't an easy journey. Ozzy's continual substance abuse led to him being fired from Black Sabbath in 1979, a rift that would remain until he was reunited with the band in 2011.
On the road in the early days, it was a loose cannon, because you never know what he was going to do. You know, he'd disappear and you might not see him till the next day. "Oh, what happened to you?" "Oh, I went to this do," you know. But he was always like the jester of the band. He'd always be messing about.
He had a reputation as being a bit of a party animal, but also a reputation of being a really, really good songwriter that made a huge contribution to music across the globe.
Since 2011, Birmingham City University has been tapping into Ozzy's global recognition with an award given in his name and with his blessing to the student who's shown the most academic development during their music business degree.
I contacted this management company. Sharon emailed me back and said, I'll put it to Ozzy. And literally in a matter of days, I received an email from Ozzy himself with a letter. We were really, really pleased that he was able to support what we do here at the university, specifically a music business course, and support the students.
The man they called the Prince of Darkness on stage experienced some pretty dark times off stage during his life. He almost died following a quad bike accident in 2003. The following year, he and wife Sharon were at home when thieves broke in and stole £1 million worth of jewellery. In 2019, he was seriously hurt after a fall at the family mansion in Los Angeles, and in 2020 he revealed he had Parkinson's. But Ozzy was as tough as old boots, and despite his setbacks, he was always the showman.
Well, I still go with the same attitude. I don't go, "Oh, I'm Ozzy, I've been doing this, I've played this and done that and achieved that." I can lay back. I go up there as if it was my first show.
I think there'll be great sadness that we've lost Ozzy, but equally, any corner of the world right now, there are going to be young people making music, and it wouldn't have happened without Ozzy.
Just ask Debbie Goff, the Birmingham-based vocalist with up-and-coming metal band Harriet. Her dad was a Black Sabbath fan, but she says it was Ozzy, not just as a performer, but as a person, who shaped her career.
I thought it was always great being a front man, but it was also really interesting to see his home life and just how he completely embodied like the rock star kind of persona. But also he was such a relatable person as well. I think that was great. And being a Brummie, I just really loved how you could still see the Brummie in him.
I've never ever tried to hide my accent. I've never denied that I'm from Birmingham. I absolutely am so proud of what I've done with my life. It's unbelievable, and I hope anyone who watches this and they got an idea, just hold on to your dreams, because you know what, once in a while they come true.
Ozzy never forgot his roots. He loved Birmingham, and Birmingham loved him back. His was the first star on the city's Walk of Fame. Hundreds turned out to see him unveil his name on the side of a West Midlands Metro tram.
Is this the start of your own train set?
And the mechanical star of the Birmingham 2022 Commonwealth Games was later named after him when it took up permanent residence at New Street. Sometimes sarcastic, often self-deprecating, but also shrewd and self-confident, Ozzy Osbourne was unique, a superstar son of Birmingham who became a legend in his own lifetime.
I think he was one of a kind, and I think that's what made him so special. But what is important is what he's enabled other people to now do with their music.
I think Ozzy's legacy hopefully will be, or at least it is to me, in that you can have a dream and you can live it out and it doesn't matter where you come from.
I don't think there'll be another Ozzy, you know, or no one that will even come close to the impact that he's had on global rock music.
How will you remember him?
As a dear friend. He's always been there, even though the press have put this and that about us. We know in ourselves that it was fine. So yeah, I shall remember him deeply.
What a life. Well, most will remember Ozzy Osbourne for his public persona, but those close to him recall someone more reserved.
Yes, Jim Simpson was Black Sabbath's first manager back in the 1960s. He first met Ozzy when they played at his blues club at the Crown Pub. They were originally called Earth, and he remembers when they settled on a name change.
They said, we've got a band called Earth, could you put us on? So I did, and they're really rather good. I didn't like the name Earth, it was a bit of a soft name, it was something tougher. Geezer turned up late to our meeting, he said, I've got the name Black Sabbath. There's a sharp intake of breath from the four of us, and in unison, I believe, we all said yes. It's a big loss, a really big loss. He was a very decent, quiet man, shy, a good friend. I think Ozzy remembered as being, for me, a really nice guy who really took advantage of every ounce of his own talent.
And clearly, Ozzy's memory will live on across Birmingham. Well, not only are the band depicted on a bench on Black Sabbath Bridge, but a huge mural has been created showing their faces near New Street Station.
These live pictures show it's also become a focal point for fans to lay flowers in tribute to Ozzy Osbourne. People clearly gathering at the mural there, just like they have done at the bench on the bridge.
And just last night, as the news of Ozzy's death broke, an impromptu memorial began with a van parking up and playing music and images to onlooking fans.
Well, Ozzy Osbourne, as we have said, was well loved, but never far from controversy throughout his life.
Yes, we can join Hannah Bechelet now outside the house in Aston where he grew up. And Hannah, what have fans been doing there?
Local fans have been here, as you can see, and left flowers and a balloon, because this is where Ozzy lived as a child with his parents and 5 children. So his childhood was here, and a life, as you said, that did have controversy in it, and perhaps none more so than the bat biting incident of January 1982. Ozzy was on stage in Iowa in America when a fan threw what he said he thought was a toy bat on the stage. Ozzy bit its head off, and it made headlines all across the world. Now, later that year, Ozzy sat down with us and talked to us about that incident.
Like, as crazy as I am, I didn't realise it was a real bat, and I picked it up and bit onto it. Shortly to my disgust, I crunched through its head, and afterwards I went to a painful experience of going through rabies shots, which wasn't very funny.
Yeah. Of course, the joke in the rock world was that the bat was taken to hospital for a rabies check.
That's right.
A very Ozzy response there, and that is no doubt one of many stories that's going to be told about Ozzy over the coming days and weeks. There's even an email address set up by the people here at the house for people to send their tributes to, as they remember the very famous man who once lived behind these walls.
Hannah, for now, thank you very much. Well, it is fair to say that when Ozzy Osbourne started out with Black Sabbath, he'd never have believed there would be a museum exhibition dedicated to him and his achievements.
But that's exactly what is happening at the Birmingham Museum and Art Gallery, where we can join Ravneet Nandra. Ravneet, a fitting location there for a book of condolence for Ozzy.
Oh, Steve, it's beautifully fitting to have his condolence book here in the round room of the museum in the heart of his city. And just have a look, people are still queuing to get to the front of that book for at least half an hour to get to the very front. Messages like, keep on rocking, Ozzy, you are a legend. At least 3,000 people have visited the museum today. On a normal Wednesday, you'd see about 1,000, and that's because of people's connected love for Ozzy. If you didn't want to write in the condolence book, you could actually leave a voice note of condolence too, and all of that would be collected into the museum's digital archives. Now, of course, we're at the museum, and here is the working class hero exhibition of Ozzy Osbourne, showcasing all of his accolades and his connections to Birmingham and his music and all that was successful. I'm joined by a music expert, Jez Collins. Jez, what is it about his music that resonates with so many people?
Well, Rav, the exhibition is called Working Class Hero, and he was working class, he remained working class. And I think that true grit, that true working classness resonated with people. He's authentic, and I think that's why he was he, and his music will stand the test of time from people all over the world.
And very briefly, there's exhibitions, there's murals, but how else can people remember him?
Well, I think, it's brilliant to see the city come together to collaborate. This is the start, I hope. I think there's, things going on with the Crown, where they placed Black Sabbath at their first ever gigs, and hopefully that comes back into being. There are lots of plans in place, haven't been revealed yet, but this is a great start. And I think what's happened with the gig and with the sad news of Ozzy's passing is that it will galvanise the city to celebrate one of our great heroes.
Well, let's go around here, because we are at his exhibition, and something pretty iconic is his 2 Hall of Fames. Tell me a bit more about them.
Yeah, I think these are probably my favourite items in the museum. So these are his Hall of Fame awards. He's only the 28th musician ever to be a double inductee, so they're really rare, and he is incredible to having those accolades.
Well, just follow me, and I know you've seen the exhibition before. Let's go and have a look. You've got posters, you've got album covers, you've got records as well. But something that is pretty iconic and amazing is his Walk of Fame that's come out of Broad Street here in Birmingham. Tell me very briefly, what did he say when he knew this was here?
So Ozzy, I think this is his favourite award ever. Just behind me is the Walk of Fame in Hollywood, which is famous. But he was so honoured that his own city gave him a Walk of Fame that he said this is the greatest award that he's ever had.
Thank you very much for that. Now, as well as this exhibition, murals, the Library of Birmingham is going to be lit up tonight, just as the light of Ozzy Osbourne.
Ravneet, thank you very much indeed. Well, over the decades, Black Sabbath inspired countless musicians as pioneers for the heavy metal genre.
New Birmingham-based band Meat Dripper are one of the groups they inspired. They spoke about their music heroes while performing their recently released song, Spider.
it wasn't for Ozzy and Black Sabbath, we wouldn't be here. His music and his non-conformist attitude, like just everything about him is who we are. He's so funny. It's like he channels this darkness, but at the same time it's like hilarious. So that's the best thing about metal.
He's just kind and approachable though in part of his persona, but also just like hilarious. He's like a proper Brummie, isn't he? It's undoubtedly so inspirational to all kinds of metal artists, and that legacy is of course going to live on, and it's already present in the Birmingham music scene.
Yeah, we've never been so proud to be Brummies, really.
Certainly living on through Meat Dripper. Now, Ozzy leaves behind many memories of his performances, and for many, the most precious, perhaps, is that of the Back to the Beginning concert that took place just 18 days ago.
We caught up with his dear friend and bandmate Tony Iommi this afternoon, who believes Ozzy defied his illness to perform one last time.
I think he really just held out to do that show. I really feel, and me and Greaves were talking about it last night, that we think he held out to do it. And just after that, he's done it and said goodbye to the fans, you know. And that was the end of it, really.
That's Tony Iommi there. Well, Mason Newman may well be one of the last Ozzy fans that got to meet the man himself, but he was also the designer behind Ozzy merchandise at that recent concert.
And a few days after the show, Ozzy and Sharon Osbourne visited him to thank him for his work. Lucy Capassi asked him about meeting an idol.
This is the moment Mason Newman found himself being given advice from Ozzy Osbourne about how to look after his fresh Ozzy tattoo.
And I was like, oh, Oz, mate, have a look at this, have a look at the tattoo. And it's a memory I'll cherish forever. He goes, just keep it clean and don't pick the scabs.
As well as being a lifelong Ozzy fan, Mason is a fashion designer, and it was his limited edition Black Sabbath collection in Selfridges that attracted the attention of Ozzy's wife, Sharon. Before he knew it, she'd commissioned him to do an Ozzy t-shirt to go on sale at the final Black Sabbath concert. The week after, he's invited to meet them, and he took along the original painting he used on the shirt.
He grabs the painting, and he's looking at the painting, oh, I'm so sorry, mate, I've messed up your eyes. Because obviously they're the cartoonish kind of character. And I was walking in there worried. I was saying to my friend Jay, who came with me, I was like, I'm worried if you don't like it in person, these eyes are a bit messed. And but no, they seem to like it. So there's a photo of us all stood there laughing after I said it. Yeah.
Mason was introduced to the heavy metal legend's music by his granddad, and he says it was Ozzy's humility in person that struck him the most.
He's still got the accent. It never left. He could be at the White House with the president, and he'd still be a common kid from Brum, which is what's inspiring to, I'd assume, other people like me as well.
So you may well have been one of the last people in Birmingham to have met Ozzy before he passed.
It's just surreal, and handing in the painting, which could have been the last painting that they've added to their collection as well. It's an honour, but also very humbling.
In fact, Sharon promised to hang Mason's portrait in Ozzy's home gym, a tribute to how much this city and its people meant to the boy from Aston, who became a global icon. Lucy Capassi, ITV News.
What incredible memories. That is just about it from us on a day where the people of Birmingham and millions of others around the world mourned the loss of an icon. People told us they would like to see him remembered in so many different ways, including a blue plaque at his home, a statue, or even on a new banknote.
Yes, Ozzy Osbourne was on the front pages of all today's newspapers, demonstrating just how much of an impact he had, be that as a singer, a reality star, a mentor, or a friend. And he will be hugely missed by all those who knew and admired him.
He certainly will be. There is more coverage of this on our website, itv.com/central, and in the ITV Evening News, which is on next. For now, though, from all the team here, good night.
Bye-bye.
Octopus Energy sponsors ITV Central weather. Come rain or shine.
Hello. There may not be a huge amount of sunshine as the week goes on, but it is looking mainly settled as an area of high pressure nudges in into the weekend. Low pressure coming our way. May just bring a few showers on Saturday, more so on Sunday. There'll be some downpours around. Into this evening and tonight, slight chance of picking up a shower, though most places will be staying dry and temperatures holding into the mid-teens as we kick off the new day. Not completely cloudy. I think there will be a few bright or sunny spells, particularly early and late in the day, but as the cloud tends to thicken around the middle of the day, you may just counter the odd shower. Though in some sunny spells tomorrow, out and about, it's going to feel warmer as temperatures approach the mid-20s.
Octopus Energy sponsors ITV Central weather.
Making the most of summer. Piri sponsors ITV Pollen Count.
Although things are looking a little bit warmer now as we see out the rest of the week, if you're a hay fever sufferer, you may be pleased to learn that's not going to have an impact on pollen levels, staying low into the weekend. Enjoy your evening.